Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Anna Ed Radock Square dedication. We're going to start, as always. Every square dedication is sponsored by somebody, Ed. Every square dedication. One of my good friends came to me with that idea one day, Ed. He says, how about Anna and Ed Radock Square dedication? I says, of course. I says, that's a no-brainer. So guess who moved right up to the front of the line, Mr. Radock? You did. Unfortunately, the priest has some sort of religious thing going on today. They couldn't make it say Pat's. So Mark is very well read in the scripture and so forth. Kind of like myself, but I figured it'd be better served if the sponsor of this square dedication, Sergeant Retired Mark St. Hilaire, for invocation. Please rise if you can. Stay with me. And if you have a hat on, uncover, please, for the prayer.
Good morning. This is a summary of a prayer for veterans by Joanna Fuchs. Dear Lord, today we honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect their country. We pray that you will bless them for their unselfish service in the continual struggle to preserve our freedoms, our safety, and our country's heritage for all of us. Bless them abundantly for the hardships they faced, for the sacrifices they made, and for their many different contributions to America's victories over tyranny and oppression. We respect them, we thank them, we honor them, we are proud of them. We pray that you watch over these special people and bless them with peace and happiness. Lord, we thank you today for the opportunity to honor Ed Radock and his late wife, Anna Canny, and their families past and present. Thank you for Anna and Ed's service to the United States Navy, service to our country, and their safety, along with, as Ed would say, good luck during the Second World War years. Thank you for blessing Ed with his good health and his resiliency as he enjoyed his 98th birthday yesterday. Thank you by blessing this neighborhood with the Radock family's presence for over 70 years and blessing the Natick community with their humble and devoted service as business owners and citizens. Natick is a greater community today thanks to Anna, Ed, and their family. In your name, Lord, we thank you. Amen.
Great job, Mark St. Hilaire. Well, now we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance, salute to the flag, followed by the national anthem. Please place your hands over your hearts, or if you have a cover on, salute in the proper way. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Remain with the salute, please, for the national anthem.
Stripes and bright stars.
I want to first thank part of Team Natick making these dedication now, since he's retired, Colonel Brett Conaway. Thank you, Brett. And Liam Rhymes was the vocals, not Brett on the vocals. Be seated, please. Except for you standing in the audience. Don't try to sit down, please. I got a few remarks before we start with our first speaker, which is the President of the Native Veterans Council, my good friend Warren Griffin, who's also Senior Vice Commandant for the Marine Corps League National Ed. Next year, he'll be Commandant. So when you turn 100, he'll be Commandant in the Marine Corps League, and we'll bring Warren out for your 100th birthday. How's that? What brings us here today, of course, is honor Anna and Ed Radock. At the suggestion of the sponsor, Sergeant Mark St. Hilaire, I always call him Sergeant, he called me with a request. I call it the team. The team jumped into action. Veterans Council, Select Board, notifications by the rest of the team. DPW, Tom Hopkins, my right-hand man now, Tom Radock, Brian Casey, and Young Olson. I'll call him Young Olson because I always forget his first name. In the sign shop. That's all part of our team. And we couldn't do it without the team. I'll start the ball rolling at Mark's request. Coordination is my job, and that's what we do. Also on my team, the keynote part of my team is my right-hand person. And she's here today, Miss Sheila Young. Her brother Patrick, an Edison worker, a longtime volunteer in Natick, you knew him, Ed, put up all the poles at the baseball field, soccer field, football field, right, by hand. Yeah. Old-fashioned way, by hand. I'll miss him every time I do one of these square dedications, but I always mention him. Part of the team is the state elected officials who do their proclamations, resolutions. And I did say the select board because they're here. All four except for Karen Alderman Foster, the chair is here, Mike Hickey, Paul Joseph, Rick Janet, Sue Salmoff, and Rick just retired this week from the select board. So Sue's actually, 2 sons live in California. She's packing things up, as she should. She's going to go out and stay with her sons. I won't say stay, but live near them. They call me coach, right? Because I coach this team, lead them along the way to get this thing done right. I want to shout out to Channel 5. I see another channel put the microphone up here, but I didn't get a chance to see who it was. What channel are we over there?
NBC 10.
NBC 10. Welcome, NBC 10. Thank you. Most of us probably saw the news last night with the nice interview that Channel 5 did with Ed. It was absolutely terrific. And I got to sit there watch in awe as Ed popped off the dates like they were yesterday. The radar room on the USS Baltimore, 27 sailors under his command in the radar room. The notice to pick up a downed pilot in the South Pacific, not knowing who this downed pilot was. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah, you can clap. That's, yeah. When Ed says a few words, he can tell you about encounter in Maine with the former President of the United States, George Bush. So these squares are the favorite part of my job in the town of Natick. I call it a great distraction from my daily chores of talking to the young veterans now, Ed, and the older veterans. And I'm part of that older veteran generation now, Ed. You know what I mean? Some of us here, I see a couple of us here, I see quite a few of your former police officers here out of retirement. One of them called me yesterday, Sergeant Douglas, to see what time it was, and my phone was nonstop, as it always is, but he's here this morning. He's also a Marine, Ed, you know that, right? Yeah. W4. Sergeant Dunlop, I saw a few minutes ago. He had to go, his side job on weekends. He had to leave us, but he made sure he came out and see you. We were blessed by Bobby Sinclair this morning. Bobby worked on his disability claim. So that's only a few years ago that you're the best, just so you know. Bobby Sinclair is a legend. He's my mentor, right? He's still teaching me to this day. You know, one of Gladwell's books, it talks about perfection at 10,000 hours. I got like 50,000 hours in the field. I don't know how to spell the word perfection, Ed, you know what I mean? So there were a couple of comments here. Earlier, the biggest crowd we've seen for a square dedication, you know? It definitely right up there, Ed. Right up there. I want to comment on your neighbors, Ed, right? When I came here this morning, your neighbor at 40 High Street came out. She sent me an email. I'm going to spruce up the area, make sure it's clean and tidy. Robin. I met a couple more of your neighbors this morning. Paul, I think, is he here? I met a couple more of your neighbors, and I told them all, I told you yesterday, what a neighborhood you live in. The closeness of this neighborhood. You know, as one that grew up in Natick, and some people say still growing up in Natick, you know, I remember the old days on the end of Walnut Street with the neighbors, bicycles, children, neighbors going from house to house saying hi to each other, congratulating them on a noteworthy event, like your 98th birthday, like the square dedication. I had phone calls. That's why Channel 5 was here yesterday, Ed. One of your neighbors called Channel 5. And Doug did a great job. Doug and Mike did a great job yesterday. Great interview with you. This Monday will be my 12th anniversary in the town of Natick. I left the Sheriff's Department on the 26th and started in Natick on the 28th. Within days of my arrival in Natick, a member of the select board back then approached me and said, do you think you could do a square dedication for a friend of mine at St. Patrick's Church? Ed's got connections to St. Pat's as I do. And my friend says, he lost his brother in World War II flying over the English Channel. And I looked at him and says, what's his name? And he told me the brother's name was Captain Foley. And the individual is one of my dearest friends in the world, former select men back then, Mr. John Conley, who can't hide, John. I see you, buddy. John Conley is here, Mr. Radock. He came all the way down from Blackstone. I'm sorry, John, I had to do that. So that's why I'm here. That's why I do these squares. It's to see a look in Ed's face when he says, one of my high points in my life is this dedication. That's heartwarming, as being the coach. Our first speaker today is my dear friend. He's Senior Vice Commandant of the Marine Corps League National. He's a Natick High graduate, Vietnam veteran, and right now he's the president of the Natick Veterans Council, part of Team Natick. Warren Griffin.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming today. What a marvelous turnout. On behalf of the Natick Veterans Council that represents the veterans organizations here within Natick, I want to thank first the town select board for allowing us to honor Ed and Anna at this square dedication. This is part of the generation that stood up, volunteered to fight for democracy. And I think today that particularly rings true with the people of Ukraine, who we watch now with their courage and commitment to fight for their country, for democracy. All of us here were born in a free country, most of us then. We're born in this country where we are able to celebrate our freedom and our democracy. We were given this. Today, there are times I think we don't appreciate the great freedoms that we have within this country. So all we have to do today is to look to the struggles of the people of Ukraine and thank God for people like Ed and all of our service people who have stood up to make sure that we maintain our freedom from 1776 through today and into our future. So on behalf of the Veterans Council, I want to thank you all for coming here today to honor one of those people who stood up for our freedom and helped us preserve our democracy here within America. Thank you all, and God bless.
Thank you, Warren. I was telling Colonel Conway earlier, I'm technology challenged at most times. I have a tune here I just got yesterday from another one of your neighbors, Ed. Send me a song I've never heard before, and I'm going to play it. If I have any difficulties, I'm going to get Colonel Conway up here to help me. But it's called The Greatest Generation Song.
So vast, and together for this country
What did I tell you?
I wish I had known. Wish I had known you wanted to do this over wireless speaker.
Part of the problem is I'm blind. I can't see the damn phone. So if you hear a little noise coming out of my pocket, don't worry about it. But I thought that was a terrific song, Ed. How about everybody can hear it? Very fitting. So before I announce our next speaker, which is Karen Alderman Fossey, I thank you. That's my adult supervision, Colonel Connolly. Oh my God. So I want to recognize Ed has two siblings here today. He has his sister Dolores over to my right in the wheelchair. And Ed's much younger brother by 18 years, Peter. Welcome. Of course, Ed wouldn't be out here without the assistance of his lovely daughter, Liz, who's his, not his caretaker, but his next door neighbor. How's that, Ed? Takes care of you. And Liz's two boys will be part of our ceremony this morning. So we have Joe and Dan sitting on next to Liz. And you are the other sister. Do you have a name? Sydney. Welcome. And if you look over your shoulder, either shoulder behind you, is a Natick World War II veteran who's a couple of months older than you, but he is 98 years old. He also served during the Navy during World War II. I'll introduce you before he leaves. Larry Honeywell. Dave Jocelyn just pointed to Larry. Larry's right, as I said, Larry's right behind Ed. And all Larry said to me, I said, "Hey, Larry, I'll push you up next to Ed." He says, "No, this is Ed's day, not mine." Very nice. So I had mentioned we have Sue Samloff could not make this event today. Again, she retired this past week from the select board, along with Rick Jennett Jr., who's here today, who I'm putting to work today, because this is his last official dedication, and I couldn't do anything less. So Paul Joseph, my good friend, and Mike Hickey also are here. And without, as Warren has said, I say this every time, it's a team Natick effort, and the select board is step 2 of the process. Step 1 is, I don't count myself as a step. Step 1 is the Veterans Council. I bring it to them. Step 2 is the select board. They approve it. They've approved everyone I brought before them so far. So they approve it, send it on for a public meeting, and other agencies, Randy of Pegasus, Maureen Sullivan used to be my contact with the Metro West News, but she still is with the Oral History Project. I believe you did that, Ed, Oral History? My sister, yeah. My daughter listened to mine yesterday for the first time on the way to visit her boyfriend in Methuen. Thank you, Maureen. I go back to the neighbors. How many neighbors are here? Raise your hand. You folks are a great group of neighbors. Thank you very much for being so loyal to Ed, the family, and each other. It's great. So I went to the meeting the other night for the public notice and so forth, and the select board were all over it, Ed, all over it. You know, 98-year-old World War II veteran being honored. World War II veterans, wife Anna being honored. Both served your wife in the Pentagon as in you in the South Pacific. So they're all over. So I want to introduce Karen Alderman Foster, Chair of the Natick Select Board.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Edelman Foster. I'm the current chair of the Natick Select Board. Thank you all for being here. What a turnout. It's amazing. It's an honor to be here to honor, I want to get the titles right, Radar Man Second Class Radock and Yeoman Second Class Radock as well. It's an incredible honor. And I think your neighbors, past and present, know that. Your town knows that. And your country knows that. I don't know who's more proud, your neighbors, your town, or your country, or your family. It's an incredible honor to have you with us and to have all the veterans in this audience with us. There are so many of them. Thank you for coming. Thank you for serving. It's just... It's our great good fortune, our great honor. So with that, I would like to introduce my colleague, Mike Hickey, to read the resolution that we passed unanimously in your honor and in your wife's honor.
Good afternoon. I just want to say it's an honor and a privilege to be here. I sometimes still feel like the new member of the board, but in a week I'll be the longest serving member. And I can say this crowd has absolutely blown away any square dedication that I have ever attended. What a tribute to you, sir, and your wife. And it's an honor to be here. I'm going to read a select board resolution honoring Anna Canny, and I apologize for the glasses, but I can't read without them. Honoring Anna Canny Radock and Edward Radock on the dedication of the Radock Family Square in the town of Natick, Mass. Whereas on March 26, 2022, at the corner of Atherton and High Streets will be dedicated as the Radock Square in honor of Anna Canny Radock and Edward Radock, who both served in the armed forces. And whereas Anna Canny Radock served in the U.S. Navy at the Pentagon, reaching the rank of Yeoman Second Class. And whereas Edward Radock served in the U.S. Navy on the USS Baltimore, reaching the rank of Radar Man Second Class. And whereas Edward Radock was awarded the World War II Victor Medal, the Asian Pacific Theater Medal with 9 stars, the Philippine Liberation Medal, the American Theater Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal. And whereas Anna and Edward were married, moved to Natick, and raised their family at 3 Atherton Street for over 65 years. And whereas Anna and Edward were committed to the Natick community, with Anna having served at the town as a bookkeeper while in his retirement, Edward served in the records office at the police department, in addition to his profession as a registered pharmacist. And whereas Edward, following Anna's death in 2000, has been devoted to the Veterans Oral History Project, the annual Veterans Breakfast at the Kennedy Middle School, and speaking at the former World War II Museum, which was based in Natick. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Natick, Massachusetts Select Board hereby honors the Radock family on the occasion of the dedication of the Radock Family Square, and that a copy of this resolution be transmitted forthwith by the Natick Select Board to the Radock family, and that is under the signature of the Natick Select Board, Karen Edelman Foster, Chair, Richard P. Jenna Jr., Vice Chair, Susan G. Salamoff, Paul R. Joseph, and myself, Michael J. Hickey Jr., Clerk, and I will transmit this forthwith to the Radock family right now.
Thank you, Mike. I heard Mike read that at the select board meeting the other night. Always does a great job. I'm glad he read it today. We got a guest here in the audience that I haven't seen since my old days as a kid going to Jones's drugstore. You know, I think he first started working for you. Is that right, Richie? Richie is here. Richie Pedalier is here behind you, Ed. I'd like him to come up and give you a shake of the hands and come on, photo op. I'm sorry to embarrass you, Rich. In the row behind you, Ed, while I'm talking, Nick Pagliara, he's the town crier from Marlboro, but Framingham now, right?
You won't hold that against me.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Nick's very active. He does taping of different events and stuff. He still fits into, how old are you now, Nick?
88.
88, still fits into his uniform. He's sitting in the row behind you. He usually likes to get up in front of the audience and do push-ups. I'm not going to allow that today.
I do 20 every morning.
Yeah, you're not going to do them here.
No.
So behind me, another first for dedications, Ed. Chief Hicks, when I called Chief Hicks and at the request of Brett Conaway, my adult supervision, he says, call Chief Hicks, he'll send a bolo out to the police officers, retired and present. How many retired police officers are here? I recognize each and every one of them, Ed. Each and every one of them probably arrested me once in my life. So. And the new generation over here, you can see them, Ed. See the new generation? Raise your hands, guys. Say hi. Hi, Ed. Thank you for clearing the streets off for us. We have the honor guard. We haven't had the honor guard. Police honor guard, Ed. You probably know each and every one of them. I'll start from the top rank. Lieutenant Rossi, Lieutenant Howard, Officer Tom Butler, and Officer Sergi Melnick. Is that close, Serge? I just embarrassed the shit out of him. That's not even close. My apologies. My apologies. So I don't see. I tried to get Anna Nolan here from the school department. She was going to say a few words because one of Ed's favorite times each year, and I'm in awe. Every time I go to that veterans breakfast, you know, I'm more of the person wandering around from table to table, and every time I go there, you look at Ed with like 20 kids. Everybody else has 5, right? Right? They want to listen to you, Ed. They're amazed by your pictures and by your stories. All right? How many veterans out here do we have? We do have a member of the school committee. I don't know if Anna sent Henry Hogan here to represent her, but hi, Henry. Welcome.
Paul.
What?
2 more of us. Kathy Collins and Donna McKenzie, Dr. Donna McKenzie. From the school committee
Kathy,
as well.
hey, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Donna McKenzie?
I snuck in late, so.
I did see Donna. And a longtime member of the Finance Committee is here also this morning, is Bruce Evans. Morning, Brucey. I've met Donna 100 times. Kathy, I met you at a couple of Zoom meetings, so yeah, welcome here. Good to see you folks. But this children was an important part of Ed's life, talking to the kids in the schools, and I loved going into the schools to talk to the high schoolers, junior high schools. It's just a great thing to do, Ed. In the last 5 years, with the assistance of the school department, Veterans Oral History Project, Maureen Sullivan, Sheila Young in my office, and a few others, we've been going into the first graders and kindergarten schools, and every year we buy new books and we read to the children around around Veterans Day yet. I think there's 25 classes in Natick, but you know what? Natick steps up to the mission. We get, no problem getting 25. And we have a base here in Natick. They also contribute soldiers to the event. That makes you famous, Ed. You work with the soldiers. Ed made a comment yesterday that really, was heartwarming to me. This is one of the finest honors I ever received in my life. Actually, he said the highest honor he ever received in his life. But you know what? It's really a high honor for me too, Ed Radock. Thank you. So I told you I was going to put Rick Jennett Jr. to work today. He's going to, Mr. Linsky, Representative Linsky's in a booth like myself. He don't get around too well, so he asked me to get somebody from the select board. And I go right to the chair and I asked the chair, can I put Rick Jennett Jr. on the spot? And Karen says, absolutely. So Rick Jennett Jr., last official square dedication to read Representative David Linsky's proclamation.
No pressure at all. Thank you, Paul. First, I'd like to echo a comment that was made that this is the most well-attended dedication in my 9 years as a selectman for these square dedications, and I think I've made almost all of them, and it's a true honor for you. No question, Mr. Radock. No question at all. I am honored to be here today, and I have a strange request. This is going to sound like, what? But I would like everybody to sing happy birthday to Mr. Radock from all of your good friends, neighbors, people who love you, people who are here to dedicate this square to you. We wish to sing you happy birthday. Do I have any support from the crowd? I'll let the maestro lead the pack. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ed. Happy birthday to you. Mr. Carew is going, what? It's not on the agenda. Thank you all very, very much. It's an honor for Ed that is well deserved. And I am going to represent our representative from the House of Representatives, David Linsky. And I want to assure David that even though I am retiring as a selectman, I'm not looking to run for Massachusetts State Representative in our district. Massachusetts House of Representatives resolutions on the occasion of this dedication of the Radock Family Square in the town of Natick. Whereas on March 26, 2022, the square at the corner of Atherton Streets and High Street in the town of Natick will be dedicated in the honor of Anna and Edward Radock, who served in the armed forces. And whereas Anna Canny Radock was born in Cambridge, Massachusetts on March 5th, 1923, and Edward was born in Clinton, Massachusetts on March 25th, 1924. And whereas Anna and Edward served with honor in the United States Navy during World War II, Anna served reaching the rank of Yeoman Second Class, and Edward served reaching the rank of Radar Man Second Class. Edward was awarded the World War II Victory Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Theater Medal with 9 stars, Philippine Liberation Medal, American Theater Medal, and Good Conduct Medal. hard to believe. Where, sorry. Whereas, following Anna's death, Edward has been involved in the Veterans Oral History Project, the annual Veterans Breakfast at the Kennedy Middle School, and speaking at many historical military history venues, including the former World War II Museum, which was based in Natick. Edward Radock has been recognized by many military and veterans organizations. Therefore, be it resolved that the members of the Massachusetts House of Representatives hereby join with citizens of Natick and neighbors, family, and friends of Anna Canny Radock and Edward Radock in celebration of the Radock Family Square in the town of Natick, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be forwarded by the Clerk of the House of Representatives to the Radock family. House of Representatives adopted this March 7th, 2022. Ronald Mariano, Speaker of the House, Clerk of the House, and Representative David Paul Linsky. With that, I offer you this resolution, Mr. Radock, with true respect and honor. It has been a pleasure knowing you for so many years and what you have contributed to our community. And as I understand, David would probably say to the greatest veteran in the greatest town, in the greatest state, in the greatest country we know today. God bless.
Love you, man.
Rick? Thank you. I'm going to miss the big log. So, you saw Richie, he shook your hand, the old Jones's drugstore. I remember going in there, picking up prescriptions for the family. Oh my God, I won't even tell you how many years ago, Ed. And when I was a kid, can you believe I was a kid at one time? Yeah. And Brett Conaway, Sergeant Conaway, Colonel Conaway, Brett Conaway, and Sergeant St. Hilaire, Mark St. Hilaire, were both instrumental in the team getting this done, Mr. Ragg. So, and I thank Brett for the technology help this morning. Thank you, Colonel. Mark St. Hilaire is going to say a few words on behalf of the Natick Police. Well, you know, I think Mark was very close to you. He'd probably see you every day, probably ask you for a coffee every day, because I used to see you walking up and down that street with a tray of coffees. Probably, I know one for the chief, maybe one for Mark. So I do remember that, Ed, fondly. And Mark, where are you?
Right behind you.
Mark's going to say a few words on behalf of the Natick Police Department.
Unfortunately, there was never a coffee for Sergeant St. Hilaire. Sergeant St. Hilaire had to get his own coffee. He took care of the records clerks. And, was a vital part of the records department. This afternoon, I'd like to welcome Ed and his family. I want to thank the Natick Select Board, the Natick Veterans Council, our veterans agent, Paul Carew, and especially Sheila Young, his assistant, and members of the legislature who helped make today happen. And a special thank you to you, all his friends, his neighbors, and fellow citizens joining us today. In the early 1950s, a young World War II veteran was working in Framingham, and he asked a friend one morning about an apartment for rent in Natick. That afternoon, the friend's brother, George Hanna, contacted that man, Ed Radock, and told him about the home at 54 High Street was his to rent. This was the beginning of Ed, his wife Anna, and their family's 70-year residency in this neighborhood. The Radock family moved over here to Atherton Street a few years later. In his retirement as a pharmacist, Ed began volunteering at the Natick Police Department in the late 1990s, taking on small tasks inside the records office. This freed up the clerks to focus on the overwhelming amount of filing reports and requests from the public. Ed's attention to detail, his conscientious work ethic, and his meticulous penmanship was so valuable that then Police Chief Dennis Mannix persuaded the Finance Committee to budget a small stipend salary to keep Ed on board. And I want to thank Chief Mannix, former Chief Nick Mabati, and our current Chief Jim Hicks for advocating for that budget line item for the past 20 years. Not only did Ed benefit from that little spending money, but we, the men and women of the Natick Police Department, benefited from his friendship, his positive outlook on life, and his example of resiliency as Ed faced several challenges over those years. Ed became an important member of the police department, whether it was delivering mail and packages to various offices, again doing small tasks, or more importantly, escorting the evidence officer as a second witness to ensure that evidence was safely and securely delivered to the State Police Crime Lab. My friendship with Ed really developed in 2007 when I was assigned to the day shift. My daily interactions with Ed were priceless. We would discuss what was going on in our lives, visit with family members, and little by little his experience as a Navy sailor. This humble gentleman was a part in U.S. history during World War II. As stated earlier, Ed was the senior radar man in the USS Baltimore, which is part of a Pacific Ocean Naval Task Force, which not only rescued a downed Navy pilot who would become a U.S. president several decades later, but his ship transported the sitting president of the United States, Franklin Roosevelt, across the Pacific Ocean during the war. Ed was proud to discuss the behind-the-scene activities of many historical events that he witnessed, such as the famous photo of Admiral Chester Nimitz, President Roosevelt, and General Douglas MacArthur sitting together on the deck of the USS Baltimore. But here are a couple tips from Ed. I bet you didn't know that the president's dog Fala was laying underneath the president's chair when that photo was taken. Or how the USS Baltimore took a slight diversion and stopped to allow the wartime commander-in-chief a brief opportunity to fish off the ship for salmon. Many of us know Ed religiously wears his USS Baltimore cap everywhere, not only for his service, but more importantly to honor his fellow sailors on his ship. Wearing this cap during a meal at Barnacle Billy's restaurant in either 2000 or 2001 caught the attention of the former 41st President of the United States, George Herbert Walker Bush, who was also dining. Through the magic of the Secret Service, Ed and Bush 41 got to spend a little time together. As Ed told me the story that it was his task force that pulled from the Pacific Ocean during the war, George Herbert Walker Bush was that young Navy pilot whose plane had gone down and was rescued. In 2013, my wife and I visited President Roosevelt's museum in his home, Springwood, in Hyde Park, New York. As I related the story to Ed, Ed told me he was my president. Ed shared with me that he had never been there, so I offered to take another trip with him and possibly my youngest son to come along with us. And his infamous, "I have to check my schedule," was announced. So in August 2013, Ed, along with my then 9-year-old son, and I drove to Hyde Park, New York, for an overnight trip to visit President Roosevelt's library and home. Ed, proudly wearing his USS Baltimore cap, was treated like royalty by the Park Service staff. He brought many of his photographs and chatted with many people while we were there. but the next morning was most memorable for me. We went over to Valkill, which is Eleanor Roosevelt's cottage and museum, for a tour. Again, Ed wearing his cap. As we walked up, 3 park rangers, all Navy veterans, converged upon Ed and personally escorted Ed around. That's a memory I'll never ever forget. So many of us here today have many memories and stories of Mr. Radock. Although our visits were hampered during the pandemic, I am grateful today when we do get to enjoy our visits over a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. And of course, I got to bring Ed's jelly donut. I'm honored to be friends with this humble gentleman before us, who is a resilient and loyal, not only to his family, to his friends, his community, and our country. He is the living example of the greatest generation. Ed, thank you. I'm a better person today because of knowing you. Natick's a better place to live because of what you and Anna did for this community. May God continue to bless you, bless your family, and may God continue to bless these great United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Well said. Before we do the unveiling, we have a family member that's going to speak about his grandfather. When I met Joe this morning, I said, I've seen your picture all over the walls of your grandpa's living room. I says, yeah. So I knew exactly who he was when he walked up. Not which one. I knew he was one of your grandsons. So Joe and Dan are here. Dan's going to do the unveiling. They're going to speak, and then I'm going to announce the unveiling. And your other grandson, Liz's other son, Dan, is going to do the unveiling. So to speak on behalf of the family, Joe. Joe Benefati? Bernat. It's so easy, Bernati. Oh my God.
Extra couple syllables in there.
Oh my God, I'm bad. Thank you.
Thanks. Hello, everyone. We just wanted to thank you for coming today to share this wonderful celebration to honor Anna and Ed for their service in the Navy. What a well-deserved recognition to honor our mother and father, grandmother and grandfather. We all thank you for your service to our nation. Thank you for the sacrifices you made and your willingness to serve your country so selflessly. You endured hardships that you probably thought you were not capable of enduring, especially the 2 typhoons. You were willing to risk your life so that we are able to maintain our freedom, and we will be forever grateful to you. We love you very much.
Come on up, Danny. Joe, I'm going to ask you to hold the ladder. I don't want your brother falling. You've been first falling besides me.
Want to go? Stand by. Color. Okay. Look.
I don't want you falling. I better get you.
Town doesn't have enough insurance.
great team effort by your two boys, Liz. Great team, right? Right, Ed, your two grandsons. Great job, guys. So to conclude this event, I want to thank everybody again. I want to again thank the town of Natick for hosting this, making the sign, approving this for us veterans. I want to thank the Veterans Council. I want to thank all the veterans and neighbors that came out today, all the retired police officers that came out today. I want to thank Natick's finest for traffic duty here today. And I want to thank Chief Hicks, Special Honor Guard that's here today. Ed, first time for a square dedication, Police Honor Guard, with two lieutenants. So again, everybody else has thanked Sheila a number of times, and I'm going to thank her again, because you know what? That's got to be tough for Sheila. Thanks, Sheila. I love you. Thanks to the Native Pegasus, Randy at his finest hour, as always, in between Channel 10 and Channel 5. Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Channel 10. Thank you, Channel 5. Great jobs, and thank you last night for the interview. And Ed, I got one more presentation to make. All right, the town of Natick. I mentioned Ted Olson and Brian Casey. Brian Casey works at the sign shop. He tore his shoulder about 2 months ago. But because he's in charge of the sign shop, he's a foreman, he wanted to make this thing and make it right. So he did the sign with one arm. Brian made the sign for you. All right.
All thanks. You're welcome in so many ways.
This now concludes our square dedication to Anna and Edward Radock. Thank you again. Special thanks to you, Ed.